this Street Beat Web exclusive, I am your host, Kristy Stanford. More than 200,000 Detroit residents are functionally illiterate. How are residents able to fill out job applications, read a training manual, or even read maps and road signs? And what are the steps we need to take to bring back our literacy rates back up in the city of Detroit? Joining me today to discuss how he is making a change to fix Detroit's literacy rates is author and international speaker, Dr. Eddie Connor Jr. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be here, thank you.
Good. Now, over the last couple of years, Detroit has had some very, very low literacy rates. So do you feel like in the year of 2016, so I'd say from probably 2011, we've made any progress and changes with literacy rates going back up?
Well, I believe there has been some substantive progress, even though according to the Pro-Literacy Organization, suggests that 60% of residents in the city of Detroit are functionally illiterate.
Right.
I think especially with the mass media age and technology and how it has become more diverse and different, is now maybe we should look at literacy from a different lens. There's a gentleman by the name of David Kirkland who has a book called Tattoos is Literacy.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's looking at how we reshape and how we formulate literacy. You know, we always look at it from a deficit-based narrative. I think we often have to look at it from an asset base. We all come with some prior knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
How do we tap into those who may be struggling to be able to turn that struggle into strength?
Okay. And now, do you feel that the school systems, do you feel that they're doing everything on their end to enhance the literacy rates with children in school?
Well, you know, in many cases, as Education Director Arnie Duncan suggested, that Detroit is ground zero.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can look at the school system today, and oftentimes prisons are in better condition than the school system.
This is true.
You know, so how do you give a child a proper education when they have to wear a coat to school because they don't have any heat, when there's all these ramifications in the community, things of that nature? I think we got to get back to the basis and the ground aspect of teaching our young people the basics. You know, we had the reading, writing, arithmetic growing up. I know I got a baby face, but I still remember it. But I think getting back to those ramifications of teaching it on a level to where it's culturally relevant.
Mm-hmm.
I do something called, I say culturally relevant pedagogy is CPR.
Okay.
CRP is the new CPR, and that is using text that relates to another text to self, text to world, to where young people are able to read and see themselves reflected in the books and the literature that is expressed to them. I think we got to do that.
So do you definitely think that with a lot of schools not having a lot of textbooks, that affects like the literacy rates as well, and then them not being able to understand like what they're reading because the teachers aren't breaking it down for them clearly?
Absolutely, and you know, if the textbooks are antiquated and archaic, that provides a problem. That's a serious problem because we need up-to-date information. We need the same types of resources that other schools are going to have. This is a global economy.
Exactly.
We're competing around the world. Students have to be able to be feasible enough to have the right proper ramifications and the right proper education to be able to do that. You know, they say the average 12th grader who graduates from the city of Detroit's public schools only has a 4th grade reading level.
Wow.
On the math level, it's a 7th grade. So you're already coming out of a school in a deficit base. Yeah, you may have gotten a 3.8 there, but when you go to the other school, when you go to higher education, are you able to compete?
Exactly.
You know? So.
How does this affect students going into adulthood with like trying to apply for jobs and, you know, trying to get your driver's license? How does that affect them?
Well, I think it affects them to where now I have to read the world through the lens of what may be distorted. And that is functional literacy. You need the basic information. You need the basic levels of knowledge to be able to express yourself, to be able to get around the world, to be able to have a vocabulary that is able to get you into the certain specific doors. So being a young person or individuals who are now moving into that stream of life, trying to galvanize their life into adulthood, you run into a lot of roadblocks and obstacles that now could possibly pose detours to destruction.
Now, what strategies should we be using? Should we have more mentor programs, vocational classes, things like that? Do you think they're doing all that they can to make sure there's vocational classes and mentor programs in the schools?
You know, I think every mentorship program has to have a literacy component. I think it's essential. Yes, you have character. Yes, you know how to tie a tie. Yes, you know how to have interview skills.
Right.
But do you have the basic information of how to read and how to be able to communicate in a world that is rapidly changing? So I think it's very, very imperative and important to be able to have text that relates to the specific culture
Right.
and the ethnicity and the framework of the young people that you're working with. How can you do that if you don't get to know them? And so I think you got to
Exactly.
build a relationship before you put in rhetoric, before you put in curriculum. I think you've got to have communication that speaks to the level of the students or the individuals who you're working with. It's very key.
Okay, now tell us about, because I know you have a mentor program. Tell us about your program and how people can get involved.
Absolutely. My Boys to Books program is something that I developed doing my master's work and just being a teacher. And it's all about literacy, leadership, and life skill development.
Okay.
And that is the basis of how I want to empower our young men to realize who they are, their significance, their self-worth, them being able to be formidable people in society. So you can definitely go. I like to say the revolution will not only be televised, it'll be digitized. So go to the website. You can check it out, eddieconnor.com. We actually developed the impetus for President Obama's My Brother's Keeper initiative in that framework. So definitely be a part of it. Bring it to your school, your church, your community center. It'll empower you.
Awesome. Thank you. For more information on how to join Boys to Books, volunteer, or to make a donation, visit eddieconnor.com. That's our show. We would like to thank our guests for coming. Thanks for watching this Street Beat Web exclusive.